Never leave home without first doing this. And that is a pre-ride check. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you get notifications of when I post a new video. Whilst I'm here, this is vlog number 99. The next one is vlog number 100. I'd like to do it as a Q&A, so if you've got any questions, also put them down in the comment section below or tweet me at Nige-Rider. Now, I remember to do my pre-ride check by the word power, and I'll put a Y in the end of it so it becomes power Y. Power Y, because we all like power. Anyway, P stands for petrol. Now obviously the first thing you need to do is check where you've got enough petrol to go wherever you wish to go to. Now on modern bikes we have fuel gauges, some of the older bikes you don't, so you actually have to check the petrol in the tank, or what I used to do on my CBR 600, because that doesn't have a fuel gauge, was to every time I filled up I'd trip the odometer so that I knew about 150 miles I'd have to fill back up again. So on that one I'd be checking my odometer. So after you've checked that you've got enough petrol, your next check will be oil. So O is for oil. Now you have to remember that there are 3 areas to check. The first one is your brakes. Might as well check while you're up here. So make sure you've got enough fluid in there, and that it's not below the low mark, it's nice and full, and it is a lovely clear colour like this. I'm not sure if you can see that there, but that is lovely and clean. If it's murky, it means it's contaminated and needs to be changed, so you'll have to at some point flush that out. After you've checked your brake oil, your next thing you need to do is check for your forks. So as you're walking around, look at your forks, run your hands on the stanchions here, and there should be no oil on the stanchions whatsoever. There should be no oil around the top of your forks, and there should be no oil around the seals here either. Okay, they should be nice and clear. After you've checked your fork oil, your next thing you need to do is check your engine oil. Now, engine oil, most have a little window which is down here. It's nice and clean, and I can see I've got engine oil which is at the level here, and because it's a straight line between that one and the top one, that means it is actually the bike is on the level. So I'll shine a light on there so that you can see. So you can see the bike's to the level, so I know everything's fine there. If it was in between the marks, it'd be fine. If it was at the bottom mark, then I'd need to be putting some more oil in. Also have a visual check to make sure there's no oil leaking out anywhere, or wherever you park it, that there's no oil on the ground at all. Your next oil check will be your chain. You need to make sure you've got chain oil. Now I have a chain oiler, which is this green pipe here, and it actually oils the chain for me, which you can actually see there's a lot of oil on that chain. So that's it. While you're also checking that, just check your chain tension. I'm going to check it with my boot. That's a little slack, but not too much. I'm happy with that, and it's not going to come off. There is another way that you can do it, and I'm going to do this with hands, and that's to pull your chain back like this. You can see a gap, so I know that chain actually is going to need adjusting at some point because there's a gap there. So now make sure you wear gloves when you do that one. Okay, after you've checked oil, next thing is to check is water. Obviously on a water cooled bike, you have an expansion tank or a header where you have the water. Now my header tank is just here, and looking at it, it's very difficult to see whether or not you've got any water in there. So what I suggest is if you get a torch and you shine it in to the side, you can usually see a shadow of where your water is. Now I can't see no shadows, this is telling me, because my upper level's right at the top here. So this is all still dark, so there's no line, I can't see anywhere, so this is telling me that it is full. And I know it's full because the last time I had this off, I checked it. After we've checked water, or should I say, if you've got a air-cooled bike, water, you need to, instead of saying water, think of wings, and that would be your fins in your engine. You need to make sure that they're clear and there's no debris, dirt, muck or anything in those fins, because if there is, it will create a hotspot. Also check to make sure your fins are not broken in any way, because again, this will create a hotspot. After water, we are going to the electrics. Now, I would always recommend when doing this that the engine is running, for the simple reason is, if you have your ignition on and the engine's not running, you will burn out your coil, which is a bit silly. So, first off, make sure all your lights turn up on your dashboard. We're in neutral, we have an oil light, we start it and the oil light goes off. I apologise if the engine's too noisy. If it is, I'll do a voiceover on this one. My engine oil light's off, which I'm quite happy for. So the first thing I'm going to do is check my indicator. That indicator's working, that indicator's working. I'm going to check my other indicator. That indicator's working, that indicator's working. So I know my indicator's working. Now my bike doesn't have hazards, some bikes do. Next obviously is my side light, which I can actually see is my little bulb at the front, and my headlights are working. Now I need to check my main beam, but we're in the middle of the daylight, so how do you check your main beam? Stick your hand and you'll see it get brighter. Yeah, that's all you need to do. Next thing you need to check is your rear lights. So on this bike I can see my rear lights are working fine, and I do have a number plate light. Get gassed. It needs a bit of a clean, but I do have a number plate light and that's working fine. On my Honda CBR 600 there is no number plate light. Now the next thing obviously is brakes. So how do you check your brakes? If you've got two people, you can do it yourself. If you've got two people, it's easy, should I say, because obviously you can send somebody to the rear to check. I'm lucky because I can see my brake lights from here. If I press that, I can actually see my brake lights. But what do you do if you can't see your brake lights? Well, try and be long, stick your hand and press, and you'll see it light up on your hand. Yeah, and we know that's working. And then obviously the next thing is your foot brake, and that's usually a bit more stiffer. And oh look, okay, so that means my rear brake light is not working on my brake light switch, so I need to check that out. No, definitely not working. So now I have highlighted a fault which it has just developed, so I need to get that repaired. So I know my rear brake doesn't work on my pedal, so I need to get that sorted out at some point. So after electrics, we can switch the engine off. We don't need that running anymore. We need to check rubber. Now with rubber, you want to be checking your hand grips to make sure they're not going to move and they're smooth, not smooth rather, that they've got little knobbly bits on there and they're not cracked. This is starting to wear out, so these are going to need to be changed shortly. After you've checked rubber here, check your rubber on your foot pegs as well. If you've got metal ones, that's fine, but if you've got rubber on your foot pegs, check them. Make sure you've got the little indents inside there and that it is not completely smooth, because your foot can slip off it, especially in the rain. Make sure that the rubber on your gear linkage is fine and not split, because then that would hinder you actually changing gear. If you can see and check your hoses, check your hoses. So if you've got a naked bike, you'll be able to see your hoses and check your hoses. With a fairing bike, it's a bit difficult. But what you can do is you can check wherever you park it to see if there's any water that's leaked out in the night when you've parked it up. And then obviously the next thing is to check your rubbers on your tyres. Now an easy way to do this is just to actually lift your bike up, if it's on the centre stand. Start from, say, like the wheel valve. Make sure that that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just a case of rotate your wheel around, checking your tyre, making sure that there's nothing in there that's caused a puncture, and that they're not split, and everything is fine back round to your valve. And then obviously at the side you can check for any lumps, eggs or bumps, and then obviously rotate it around as necessary. And if you let your bike back down again without it falling over, which I've done before, Obviously then you can move on to your back tyre and check your back tyre for exactly the same principle. So find out where your valve is, check your valves first, and then rotate your tyre, checking your tyre treads and making sure that there's no big splits. I've got a bit of a split there, and there's no much cracks or bulges or anything that could indicate an issue with your back tyre. I've got two areas that I need to be careful of. I've got, if you can see, there's one there and there's one there, so I need to be very cautious. I've got some more actually, so that's telling me that this tyre's due to be changed soon. I'm actually, look, there's my wear indicator, and I'm getting close to my wear indicator, so that's suggesting I've not got many miles left on this tyre at all. I'm almost down to the wear indicator. So that is the bike checked. So that's power, petrol, oil, water, electrics, rubber. After I've done that, next thing, which is the why, is check myself or yourself. Make sure that you are suitably dressed for riding, you are fit to ride, you're well hydrated, and you've got the appropriate clothes on for the weather climate. So for today it's raining, so I would put on some wet weather gear or some warmer gear, because obviously riding in the rain will actually reduce my overall temperature. Anyway guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. As I said, don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I will catch you on Wednesday with vlog 100, which hopefully will be a question and answers. So get your questions over to me and I will answer them. Doesn't matter what they are, they can be as crazy as anything, and I will answer them for you. I am now going to fix my rear brake light, and I will see you soon. Cheerio.